Facebook as well. Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Brooke Goldner from Goodbye Lupus, and I'm coming here. Oh, that's Leo's hand. Coming in today for you live for your Wellness Wednesday Q&A session to answer your questions about health, about diet, about wellness, about good life, all those things as best as I can over a Q&A. All right, this can't substitute for your medical care. I can't see you. I can't treat you medically. But I can answer as many questions as possible from Instagram, YouTube, Facebook to try to help you out. And thank you for all the wonderful feedback I've been getting saying, please don't stop. So I'm glad to be able to do this for you and with you every week. So good to see you. I was thinking a lot about what would be a good topic today. And I'm going to give you I always like to start off with a little lesson from something that's going on in my coaching, but I was thinking actually also even in my life, when it comes to motivation, so motivation is a big one that people ask me about. I just had someone who did my 4-week rapid recovery program with me ask me the question, how do I make myself want to exercise? How do I make myself want to eat well? And the answer is you have to force yourself to do it even though you don't want to for at least a month before you start wanting to, which isn't the answer most people want, right? It's really, really hard to create a new habit, especially one that's very different from what you've been doing, something that's going to change your life, the way you live your lifestyle. If it's a big change, then what usually happens is at first you don't want to. Like there's a part of you that wants to, right? There's a part of your brain that's like, I need to do this. But when it comes to the day in, day out stuff, that can get really hard, right? Sticking with it and making yourself do it every single day, that's difficult. And the answer to that, how do you make yourself do it? What I have found works best is the combination of investment, accountability, support, and coaching. Those 4 things: investment, accountability, support, and coaching. So for example, I'll give you an example for myself. I just joined a boot camp in my neighborhood, a morning boot camp. So I have to wake up every morning and it's outdoors, and this is Houston, it's hot. So I wake up every morning now and I go to the boot camp to work out. My mom is coming, my son Solomon's coming, and we're doing that every morning. And the reason I joined it is not because I don't know how to work out. I know how to work out. I mean, I definitely know what I'm doing. It's because I've gotten out of the habit of working out. So with any habit, if you stop doing the thing that you want to do, the habit can go away where you have to start over, right? Just like if any of you have ever tried to eat on the Goodbye Lupus protocol and then you got off the habit, maybe it was the holidays or your birthday or anniversary and you got out of the habit, starting over is, well, starting over from the beginning. And now you have to build that habit all over again. And that can be really difficult. So I got out of the habit of working out regularly over the pandemic. A lot of you probably relate to that. I spent a lot of time working. And so whenever I had extra time, I was working. And what really motivates me to work out is being around people, being at a gym, all that kind of stuff. So we bought all of the equipment for our house. I have everything I need in my house to work out, but I wasn't doing it. And I just kept not doing it. So I realized I need a coach. I need accountability. I need investment, and I need support, because those things motivate myself. So even though I told myself to do it every day, I didn't do it. Maybe once in a while I would do it, do 5 minutes on my spin bike or something. I do walking, I do swimming, but not what I want for a workout, like real workouts. So I joined this boot camp and I paid money for it. And I told my 4-weeker this, and she goes, you paid money to join a boot camp with a trainer when your husband is Thomas Tadlock? And I said, yes, I did. Because again, it's not an information problem. I don't even need a trainer at this point for information, but its application is making myself do it. So I paid a trainer. I paid him for the whole summer, 8 weeks, because money is motivating, right? If you pay for something, you're more likely to do it. I have found that over and over again to be the case with helping people with their recovery, right? If you pay for it, suddenly you're like, oh, damn, I got to use this, right? So I paid for it. I paid for my son and for myself. We're going to do this boot camp, paid for the whole summer. It's every day at 8 in the morning. got to be there, right? Which is why I don't have time to dry my hair now. This is my summer look now. This is boot camp, right? So we got to be there. And so now I have, and then there's other people there, right? And I've gotten to know them a little bit. So I have a support group. I have paid my money. So now I'm motivated. And I have a coach who is helping me and making sure to keep me accountable. So when I show up, he's watching my form and making sure that I do it, make sure my elbows are in, make sure that I'm running the way I need to. So I have a coach, I have support, I have accountability, and I have an investment, and I have not missed a day since I started. And I look forward to it every day. I look forward to it. I'm so happy right now. So when it comes to starting a habit or restarting a habit, those are the things that make people able to change and do something until they want to. I have a feeling by the time this 8 weeks I paid for is over, I will have no problem continuing it. In fact, to go on the 5th day on Friday with my son in the morning just to do some bodybuilding together, because I'm now in the habit. I'm creating this habit and it's rewarding me with these endorphins where I feel really good. So those are the keys. So if you can do it on your own, it's wonderful, right? When it came to changing my diet, I didn't have a problem with that. I just did it. I was motivated and I did it. But getting back into working out has been a struggle for me because the motivation that I used to have is gone. My motivation used to be I wanted to lose weight. My weight is great. I have never had a problem with my weight because of the way I eat. I stay skinny, no problem. But there's other reasons to work out. Your heart health, mental health, all these different things. And so when my original motivation that used to work is no longer a problem, this is what I needed. So if you're struggling, that's something to consider for yourself, right? That how do I create that for myself? So if you want to get onto my protocol, right? How are you going to do it? So what are you going to do for support? What are you going to do for investment? What are you going to do for accountability, right? So that is going to be, that's what works. That's why we created things like my rapid recovery group, because that's what it is. Every single day, if you guys like this once a week, every single day, there's my face, teaching, motivation and dedication and helping people through relapse, because that's part of change, helping people get it right, keeping them accountable every single day. Let me see what you ate. Every single day, I'm going to see what you ate and make sure that it's right. Every single day, I'm going to help you with the emotional stuff that you tell me about, right? So accountability, coaching, investment, when people do that, they get better. So that's why I created programs like that, because I don't want to see people start and fail and not get their life back. I want to see people finish. And so I don't even take a day off. This trainer's 4 days a week. I'm 7 days a week. I help people. No matter where I am in the world, I'm still in there helping those folks in rapid recovery. So if you're not going to do something like that with me, and we do, for those of you who do want that, I have a group July 21st, exactly a month from now. There are some spots left, not many anymore. It always sells out. So if you go to goodbyelupus.com, you can check it out. But if you want to do it with me, great. But if not, how do you build up for yourself? What's your support network going to be? What kind of investment is necessary? Do you have to buy that Vitamix, the high level blender to motivate yourself to use it? Like, what can you do to hit all those points to make sure that you can make the change you want for your life? Right? So motivation is not enough. You need those other factors as well to really make a new habit stick. So that's what I'm going through and what I'm learning about and what I'm doing. I always share with you as well. So hopefully that helps you if you're struggling with wanting to. You don't want to until you do it, unfortunately. As I told my 4-weeker that if just wanting to work out was enough, everybody would be a size 2 and with a 6-pack, right? It just doesn't work that way. You have to want to, and then you have to plan through to. And the way you plan to is with all of those things that I just told you about, the accountability, support, coaching, and investment, right? So, all right, let us get to the questions for the day. Let's see here. All right. So YouTube got an early start. So let's check out what YouTube is doing. All right. So Sheila wants to know, am I able to break a probiotic capsule and add it to my smoothie or water bottle since I'm having a hard time swallowing it due to TMJ? You can try it. What I would actually do is call the company, the supplement company, and ask them if it's equally effective. They might tell you to just put it in some water and not have it with food. I don't know. So the best thing you can do if it's a question about the supplement like that is to call the supplement company and see if they have a suggestion for you. All right. I'm going to do 2 from each today so we don't have to move around so much. Let me see. I'm not sure, Joseph, I'm not sure what you're asking about an empty kayak. I'm confused. Maybe you can ask me the question in another way. Let me see here. Lori says, hi, Dr. Goldner, here in sunny Arizona. I just started your Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol about a week ago, and I feel so good already. Good. Question, how much flax oil should I add to my smoothie? It really depends. If you're trying to just improve health, adding a couple tablespoons is great. If you're trying to really get on the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol and kick some high-level action, 3 tablespoons a day is a good way to go. All right, let's see. Let's go to Facebook. Hello, everybody. Liz wants to know, Liz Duku, can the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol reverse cataracts? I don't know the answer to that. Definitely, we've had fantastic results in reversing glaucoma quickly. People's vision. There's a lot of people who had no idea that their vision could come back. But, from hair loss, not hair loss, I'm reading a hair loss question, from vision loss, like needing glasses. Someone just reversed her Hashimoto's and her vision's back to 2020, so it's pretty cool. We've had great success with different kinds of inflammatory eye disease, dry eyes from Sjogren's, but I don't have anyone I can think of for cataracts, so I don't know. And if I don't know, I never make it up, so not sure. All right, let me see here. So let me see here. Thanks for all the hair love. That's just me not drawing it. Glad less effort is working for me. No time. I work out, a shower, and I'm here, but I'm doing it. All right, let's see. Okay. Another one from Facebook. Oh, no, yeah, okay. Let's see. Robin, I've been on the Goodbye Lupus protocol for Hashimoto's for over 3 months, and I've had some improvement in my symptoms and a reduction in my thyroid medication. Thank you. You're welcome. That's awesome. All right. These past few days, my stomach hurts after I eat, and I haven't changed what I eat or the amount. Any idea why this happened? I've never had stomach issues before. Well, most likely it's not your diet, right? If you've eaten exactly the same thing for 3 months and suddenly your stomach hurts, then that's not the reason, right? So maybe you got a bug. Maybe your batch of greens had some contamination or something in it. I'm not sure what the reason is. But maybe whatever it is you're eating, maybe switch that out or put it through a cleaning process and see if that's the reason. If you might have made a change, maybe consider it. Like if you changed to seeds from flax oil or something like that, check it out. But if you haven't changed your diet in over 3 months and then suddenly you're having pain, it's not what you're eating in terms of your food choices, but it might be something else. So I'm not sure without more information, but hopefully that helps. All right, let's see here. All right, let's look at Instagram. Hey, Instagram. All right. Pardon the lean-in I have to do. So far, Instagram still needs to be on my phone. I can't do it separately. So let's see. So let's come up. All right. Spicy Kitty says, Dr. G, I read that vegans don't get enough K2. I'm on the Goodbye Lupus protocol. Is it okay to add sauerkraut to get K2? Is it valid the K1 to convert to K2? What if you have digestive issues? Won't that make, and then it stops. Okay. I have not seen a problem with K. I just haven't. There's K in all different plants. I have not seen a reason to supplement it. Even with my vitamin D, I don't take it with K because I get so much of it from my foods. That said, even on the Goodbye Lupus protocol, I usually let people have like a 1/4 cup of kraut a day, as long as there's no preservatives or weird stuff in it. And usually that works out just fine. But I haven't seen a reason to supplement it or worry about it. All right. Who ate Jimmy? How do I reverse my multiple sclerosis? Okay. Well, thankfully, even though it's called the Goodbye Lupus protocol, it works for multiple sclerosis. I actually was just talking to someone yesterday from Japan who did my protocol fully with a friend group. So she did it for free using my content that's online. And she got 2 friends to do it with her. And not only did her MS symptoms go away, she had fatigue went away, and her most recent lesion on her MRI went away. All from just doing the Goodbye Lupus protocol. And her friends got rid of psoriasis and other issues. Like everybody had incredible results. So it's the same program. Now, the other part of it besides the diet is the emotional stress part. And that's actually why we were meeting, is now she's realizing that stress actually brought symptoms back. And so now we need to do the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol, right? Which takes the nutrition from Goodbye Lupus protocol and adds the self-care and the emotional work that is necessary for many people to fully reverse a disease for good and not have it be triggered and come back again. So, so that's the next step. And so that's always a good thing to know, right? If something goes wrong, then you go, okay, I know the nutrition works 100%. Yes. Now what's triggering this relapse, right? And so every time something goes wrong, now you can just make a new game plan to deal with that and get yourself right back to feeling amazing again, which is always the goal, right? So it works really well. It works really well for MS. And we've had many people who have now done the program for MS who've had incredible reversal of symptoms and reversal of lesions off the MRI, which is very exciting. That'll have to be the next one, I think, for a case study. Right now, we're almost, after shopping around for, I think, 3 years now, we're finally getting a magazine to publish another case study for Sjogren's. People think it's easy to do studies and to publish things. The journals out there are not interested in nutrition, but maybe the MS one will be interesting. That'll be a good one for next time. Okay, let's see here if we can get this one. All right, let's see here. Winnell wants to know, can I do high intensity interval training for exercise while on the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol for Hashimoto's? And love you back. Yeah, absolutely. Sure you can. Yeah, exercise is fantastic for disease reversal if you can do it. Kinga Lawrence, how do you keep up with iron if you can't eat seeds, nuts, and protein? There's iron in plants too. I mean, spinach is a really good choice for high iron. Okay, but if you have low iron causing anemia, then take an iron supplement. Don't wait for your food to rebuild it, because that can, in the meantime, you don't have enough blood. So, you know, if don't waste time on that if you need it. Okay, let's see. Tammy wants to know, will this protocol help with menorrhagia? Maybe. So people who have issues with menstrual cycles, bleeding, most of the time they find that they have really good improvement. I've had people who had no cycle get their cycle back after a year, for one person who had lupus and just her body wasn't working for her. We had someone in my group who thought she was in menopause, but her period came back during the group. So that wasn't a happy thing for her. But also people who have heavy bleeding from fibroids, endometriosis, have found that they've gotten better. So there's a good chance. That's what's so great about the protocol, is it's not specific for disease. It's specific for cellular repair, cellular function, immune function. So it just tends to fix things in all areas. And that's what's so beautiful, is when I follow up with people, it's like everything's better. You know, my skin's better, my arthritis is gone, my energy's through the roof, my cycles are regular, infertility issues often go away. I mean, it's just your body knows what to do. You just need to give it what it needs. And that's been the most humbling thing for me as both a genetic researcher and a physician, is learning that actually I don't need to do much. I just need to get out of the way and give the body what it needs. Sometimes I help it along. Medicines can help. Things can help if we're waiting for someone to get their diet right or for them to get their results. But truly, the body wants to get better. It knows what it needs to do. You just have to give it what it needs consistently and not hurt it, right? And it will get better in so many different areas. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so I think we are back on one more on Facebook, and then we'll go to Instagram. Let's see here. So Taste and See. Hi, Dr. Goldner. Do you think the condition of iritis or uveitis is a type of autoimmune condition? I've had frequent flares from time to time, hurts my vision, but don't have any obvious autoimmune issues that I'm aware of. My ophthalmologist doesn't really have an answer. It can be. I have seen cases where inflammation in the eye preceded autoimmune issues, both of the thyroid and rheumatoid arthritis. So it's definitely possible. And the good news is, as I mentioned before, that doing my protocol will help with reversing inflammation even in the eye as well. So it's always worth doing. That's what's great is you don't, in the medical world, you really need a diagnosis before you can get treatment, right? Because they have to make sure that the treatment is evidence-based, where it's that medicine is going to do more benefit than harm, right? But if you don't know what's going on and you know you have some kind of inflammation, doing the diet, there's no harm in it, right? Like you eat better and your body gets better, and maybe you'll never know exactly what the label should have been, but it doesn't matter because it's gone, right? All right, let's see over here in the Instagram world. Juice in the by the sea, are nitrates and vegetables safe? Yes. Thank you for all the nice comments. You guys are all so sweet and supportive. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Oh, that's awesome, Trinlene. I'm glad you got people together. So, all right. Zoo Anna, how do we make an appointment from Australia? Okay, so if you go to goodbyelupus.com and work with Dr. G, it'll bring you to my site, Vigaro. Now, I know for some folks, there's some difficulty in booking out of the country, and it never used to be. Vigaro made some kind of change, and now I have to find a new, in my free time, find a new scheduling system that's not going to have these problems. But if you're having trouble booking, sometimes it's that you need to use a VPN. Australia is not usually that problem. The other thing, sometimes it only wants an American address. So I've had people who've used an American friend's address to book it, and then in the paperwork that they filled out, they put the correct address. It's just it's a workaround. So if it's not letting you book through with your information, then do another address, and then when you fill out the paperwork, so when you make the appointment, it'll give you paperwork to fill out online, then you'll put your real information in there, so I have the accurate information. All right, let's see here. All right. Fully Rock Kelly, when's the next free session? I think you mean the classes. I want in. I'm binging on all of your content. When I can, I'm going to schedule a visit with you. Cool. So I don't have any free sessions. I mean, these are free sessions. This is what I do to donate my time to the world. So this is every week, same time, 12:30 Pacific. I come on live unless extenuating circumstances I can't be here, and then I find some substitute. My husband did it once, and I did a video for you once, but most of the time I'm here. We asked about the free classes. I need to set them up. I think I'm going to do them for beginning of July. That seems like a good time, like to set up the next round of free classes. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I just have to set them up. I do that. And that's the other thing that can motivate people is time. So if you don't have the motivation you would typically get from investing money, then limiting the time can motivate people as well. So as someone who's an expert in motivation and human psychology, I try to do whatever I can to inspire and motivate people to take action. So I will let you know when they're back up online as soon as possible. But hopefully you're doing better soon. All right. Darla McCrary, Hashimoto's question mark. So if you're asking about whether or not this works for Hashimoto's, 100%. I mean, Hashimoto's is really the most common issue that I help people recover from, because it's one of the most common autoimmune diseases, even though it's not treated as autoimmune disease. I just had somebody who I've worked with for a while now. She came to me initially for chronic pain and fatigue, but then continued to work with me for trauma. So I specialize in helping people through trauma recovery. And so trying to help her build a happy life. But her Hashimoto's antibodies went away completely. I forget the date. I want to say it's like 8 months ago. It was a long time ago. Her Hashimoto's antibodies are gone, and she's had it for 30 years. So it was a big deal. And we celebrated goodbye Hashimoto's, but she still needed thyroid hormone, which is not unexpected. If you've had Hashimoto's for 30 years, good chance your immune system successfully destroyed enough of your thyroid that you might need to take a medicine to continue, right? But at least you no longer have autoimmune disease. Well, a couple months ago, she got sick, and we thought maybe she got sick, like she got a virus or something, because she was just feeling really bad, losing weight, anxious, and just, so we're like, is this a flu? What is this? Well, she went to the doctor and got her labs drawn, and her TSH was like 0.3. Your TSH is the hormone that tells you that you need thyroid hormone, and it was so suppressed because she was now overdosing on her medicine. So at some point between the Hashimoto's going away and recently, her thyroid just came back online. Like her body just fixed it. It's kind of, I kind of imagine it like there was a flat line and then all of a sudden, beep, beep. So they took down her thyroid medication and now she feels fantastic. So it's a good problem, but it feels terrible. So for anyone who has either Hashimoto's, who is taking medicine for Hashimoto's, who's taking medicine for high blood pressure, who's taking medicine for high cholesterol, if you're taking medicines for those conditions, realize that you will recover. And high blood sugar, you will recover quickly. And so people who do the Goodbye Lupus protocol aggressively, usually blood sugar, blood pressure are better within 3 weeks. And often the thyroid is already getting better too. So if you have symptoms of overdose, please be aware of it. And so take your measurements. If you have high blood sugar or blood pressure, take those measurements every day so you don't accidentally take medicine and make yourself feel terrible when you don't need it. With Hashimoto's, you're going to have to call your doctor and say, I feel like I'm overdosing on my thyroid medicine. I'm sweating and anxious and having diarrhea. Can you please recheck my labs? It's a good problem, but it feels terrible, you know? Okay. Let's see here over on the YouTube side. Let me have my, all right. Marianne wants to know, are a few black olives in a salad okay? Sure. Coffee in the morning with coffee or with soy or almond milk. Yeah, most of the time you can have a cup of coffee, just no sugar and unsweetened almond milk is my preference. Elizabeth, have you seen crooked fingers straighten with any of the protocols? So I have seen trigger fingers separate fixed. So sometimes people will I can't even fake it. Like where there'll be something stuck like that. There's a trigger finger that can happen in rheumatoid. Those will release. But the other thing that can happen in rheumatoid is something called ulnar deviation, where the fingers start to bend to the side. It's called ulnar because here's your ulnar bone right here. So it'll start bending this way, and the bone actually shifts in the joint so that it's pointing that way, right? That won't fix itself. That is actually that the bone itself has deviated. What we have had, and if you look back years ago, Dawn, she made a great video showing this where she was stuck like this and couldn't feed herself, couldn't do her own hair, was just like stuck. And then once she was in my rapid recovery group, she could actually straighten them and bring them back up. So when she rests, they're still stuck to the side, but she can bring them back up and use them again. And that was incredible. So I think at that point, if she wanted to keep them up like this, she would have to have the surgery to rotate the joints back. But in order to be fully mobile and able to use her hands, she doesn't need to do that. So, so that I've definitely seen. All right, let's go over to, Facebook. Let's see. All right. Let's see what Facebook wants to know. YouTube's taken over this chat over here, so I have to look for, find the Facebook questions. All right, let's see here. Oh, goodness. Where are you? Here we go. All right. Hey, Wendy, I know you're starting. I saw that name. So starting rapid recovery July 21st. That's exciting. It's exciting. It's getting close. All right. It's exciting in my current group now because we're in the 5th week and the results are so good as usual. Blood pressure back to normal, cholesterol down for one woman, 70. Is it 72 points or 78 points? Either way, went from high to normal, enormous amount of drop. And of course, like pain being gone, energy. People are all asking questions about working out now because they feel so good. It's just freaking awesome. I love this. There's nothing better. I have the best job in the world. Nobody can fight me for that. All right, let me see. Let me see a question. Okay, Shanna. Hi, Dr. G. My PC doctor has thrown up her hands. I need help figuring out why I'm having such bad nocturnal leg cramps. Ever since I started drinking 96 to 128 ounces of water a day, my tests come back normal, including my electrolytes, my CBC, several different calcium tests, thyroid panel, basic metabolic panel. At her suggestion, I've tried an electrolyte supplement, algae-based calcium, magnesium citrate. Usually it's a sodium issue. If the only change you made, if you ate everything else identical as before, no other change but water, most likely you just need to increase your sodium. So having some sodium at night probably will fix the problem. Even if your electrolytes are in the normal range, that's most likely the problem. If you've done the full, because the most common cause of leg cramps, besides medication side effects, the worst leg cramps I've ever had was on prednisone. It was just the most excruciating. My whole leg would lock up, really painful. But if it's not medication, then usually it's dehydration, low nutrient levels like potassium and calcium, or low sodium, right? Well, if you're doing the Goodbye Lupus protocol, you got no problem with being dehydrated. You have no problem with getting your nutrients in because there's so much calcium, potassium in the vegetables. So then the other one would be sodium. So that's what I'd be looking at and see if that solves it for you. All right, let's see here. Instagram. So, hey, Leo, can you check Instagram to see if my sound's coming through? Because I'm wearing my ear pods for you, Instagram. So that'd be very sad if it's, I don't think we'd have so many people watching without sound, but let's make sure before I answer an Instagram question. So let's see here. And let me see, can you hear me? Okay, yep, you can hear me. Okay, all right. So hopefully that's just one person's problem then. Just wanted to make sure. All right, Mark RRDD, daily salt requirements on PHN. I guess you're asking like pure hypernourishment, perhaps raw food, Goodbye Lupus protocol. I've heard about salt should not be taken near eating cruciferous vegetables. Does that mean salt in my cruciferous salad doesn't count in the daily goal? All right, people get really confused on this, and I don't know how to unconfuse it. I'm usually pretty good at communicating, but for some reason, the salt iodine thing, and I see the next question on Facebook is also about iodized salt. So let me see if I can clear this up for you. Okay. Your body needs certain things that have to be supplied externally, right? Among those things are both sodium and iodine, okay? So we can separate that out. We need sodium, we need iodine, right? Iodine helps us not only with thyroid health, but with brain health. And sodium is also necessary. The reason why we check your electrolyte panels is a certain amount of blood sodium is necessary for us to function properly. If our blood sodium or salt level goes too low, we can feel dizzy, we can have a seizure, we can get diarrhea. So blood sodium, right? So we need sodium, we need iodine. Those things are two, both things are true, right? Now, the easiest and cheapest way to get iodine is iodized salt. So you can get your iodine with your sodium if you use iodized salt with your food. Historically, people eating iodized salt was just normal, at least in America. We've had the government made a decree, I don't know, a while ago, where all salt that was like regular salt, table salt, was iodized, because there are places in the world where people have terrible diseases, especially brain diseases, because of a lack of iodine. And they thought, well, one thing every American eats is salt. So if we put iodine in the salt, now everyone will get their iodine when they eat their salt. So they solved two problems, one solution. Okay. So please understand that those are two separate things. Now, iodine is absorbed. Let me restart that. Cruciferous vegetables, which are extremely important part of the protocol because they have the highest level of nourishment of any plant food you can eat. Okay. Cruciferous vegetables also can interfere with some of your iodine absorption. For most of us, it's not a problem because we're putting salt on things. We're getting our iodine. Sometimes we get a little more, sometimes we get a little less. No problem. But for some people, especially people with thyroid disease, that little bit of interference can have a symptom, right? Which is where the folklore comes from, that somehow people with thyroid disease should not eat cruciferous vegetables. That is incorrect, okay? They need the nutrition, but the concern is that they will absorb less iodine and they already have a low thyroid, and that's going to make them have even less thyroid hormone, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So if you want to maximize iodine absorption, then when you have your iodine, have it separately from your vegetables. That does not mean you can't put salt in your vegetables. You can have salt whenever you want. You can put it on your vegetables. Some people like it in their smoothies. I do not. Some people hate salt and they'll take a salt tablet or just put salt in some water and chug it. That part doesn't matter. Have salt whenever you want. You will absorb it just fine. Okay. But iodine, that will absorb better without your cruciferous vegetables. So if you have it with your vegetables, just also have it without it. So maybe you have some avocado or other vegetables with guacamole and the salt is there. Or if you really want to optimize it and have no question, then take an iodine supplement in the morning or before bed and then eat salt that doesn't have iodine. So you need both. You can have them together in iodized salt or you can have them separately. Okay. Most folks, like, I never had to have this conversation 5 years ago because everybody was just doing iodized salt. And then all of a sudden I started seeing people having thyroid issues where their TSH was going up. And I figured it out. And I was very proud of myself for this, that those people were using sea salt that was not iodized. And I realized you're actually not getting iodine anymore. And not only is that starving your thyroid, but in addition, you are eating cruciferous vegetables, which could then lower your absorption even more. And so that was causing a problem. We added iodine back and boom, everything gone, autoimmune disease and the thyroid issue. So that's why I even have to speak about it now, is because people stopped using iodized salt. And that's the whole reason. Okay. So you don't need to not have salt with your vegetables. It's just that's the only issue. And I hope that makes sense. And if it does, I'll share it as a clip on one of my reels on my page, because the question comes up all the time and people still struggle with the idea of why iodine, iodized salt, all that stuff. So hopefully me taking a little more time with it helped you with that. Okay. And the other thing I will add is that people also, the other reason people aren't getting enough salt or iodized salt is because there are other folks out there saying that salt is bad for you, right? Now, that is also not entirely correct. And that's what really makes it difficult to help people get healthy, is somebody will read something, someone even who's a physician, and they will make a rule around it, but the rule doesn't really encompass the issue fully and can cause more harm sometimes. And that's a problem. If something is true, it will always be true and it will always work. If something only works sometimes and makes people worse other times, then it's no longer a truth anymore, right? So, as I mentioned, you do need sodium for your blood. The problem in our country and many other countries is that people are overdosing in salt and they're dehydrated. So if you're eating processed foods and oftentimes even animal products, people put a lot of salt in that, that most people are eating enormous amounts of salt, way more salt than you need in a day, and they're dehydrated. And so that puts stress on the kidneys, and that also can raise your blood pressure and put stress on the heart. But the answer is not to just not eat salt. The answer is to make sure your salt concentration is correct. So if you add more water to a high salt diet, that's good. Now, on my protocol, people stop eating processed foods. They stop eating animal foods, and they often stop eating salt because they're just doing smoothies, maybe a little salad, and they don't really have any salt intake. And your sodium level can go down because for those folks, usually for the first time in their life, they're drinking their body weight, but in ounces of water. And so blood sodium can go down, which, as I mentioned before, can be dangerous. So having a teaspoon of salt a day for most people was the right amount, sometimes more. I don't really regulate sodium because I don't worry about it, because someone who's drinking a gallon of water a day or 96 ounces of water a day, usually there's no problem at all. But even if you had 2 teaspoons of salt a day on a raw diet, Goodbye Lupus protocol water, you're having a tiny fraction of the salt that you used to have without even realizing it. So, so just be careful of that. I've had people not trust me on that because they were convinced that you need to have a diet that is sodium free. And then they get symptomatic. They drink their water and they feel dizzy. They have diarrhea, all these problems, leg cramps, issues, and the sodium fixes that. So there is a sweet spot for all of these things. And I just try to make sure that you understand that as best as I possibly can. You can't combine information. Most of the time, as soon as you add other people's ideas to the protocol that works, now it no longer works. So just stick with it. Let's see here. So Solange, I answered your question with that question. I got 2 for 1. All right, let's see. Gail says, what's your take on heavy metal thallium? I recently had a heavy metal test and it was high, although I just started. the hypernourishing protocol? I don't really know how to answer that because I haven't tested it. I've never tested thallium levels in people who are super healthy. So that's the real question, right? Not whether or not the levels are elevated at all, but whether or not that is impacting health. So like I've never tested my levels. I don't know. So that would be my answer. I just don't know the answer to that. And there's a lot of debate around it, but I don't like to get involved in debates. I just like results. And as long as people are hypernourishing and their health is getting better, then that's the result that matters. So yeah, sorry, I can't give you a better answer to that. All right. Stephanie Conaway, what's a good protein if I'm eating just vegetables? So this depends on your goal. So if your goal is just health and disease reversal, you're going to get what you need. So there's protein in all the different vegetables. My protocol is not just vegetables, though. It also includes omega-3 fatty acids from flax and chia, which also has protein in it. But we've never seen a problem with that. Actually, a lot of times people protein level go up on this protocol because their kidneys get healthier. So you don't have to add a protein. Now, if you are just overall healthy, and you want to add more things and try to do like bodybuilding workouts where you're trying to force your body to gain weight through exercise. People want to eat their way to gaining weight. Fun, but not good for your health. What you want to do is exercise, right? And then put muscle on. Then people might want to add more things like tofu, edamame, tempeh, things like that. But for disease reversal, you don't need to add anything. You get plenty of protein for health, and that's really what you want, right? Lorna, can this program help with Parkinson's? Yes, we have had 2 people with Parkinson's who've had great results with lowering medication and lowering symptoms. It's only 2, but it's 2 for 2. So that's been really cool. I haven't really talked about much. We've also had 2 people with ALS who had reversal of symptoms. Their most recent symptoms went away. It wasn't long enough. It was just group 6 weeks. So not long enough to see how far we can go, but dramatic improvement, which is to me super exciting because that's something we don't have a lot of treatment in. But nervous system disorders get better. Let's see here. Happy for you. Cheryl Cunningham says, I love how I'm feeling on this new habit. Thank you. Doing the Goodbye Autoimmune Disease Protocol. Fantastic. Allison wants to know, what are the most common ways people self-sabotage? The most common ways people self-sabotage. So this could be a whole long thing, but I would say briefly, number 1 is people treat it like a diet. So they will tell themselves, I'm doing this for 6 weeks, I'm doing this for 4 weeks, or whatever, with the mindset of a dieter that once I'm better, I'm going back to my old ways. If you treat it like a diet, you'll always relapse. So you have to treat it like I'm changing my lifestyle, and this is the beginning of a new way of eating and living. That I will never eat certain things again. I just saw a new client today, actually, who's been following my protocol on her own, just doing what you're doing, listening at home and following it. And she had fibromyalgia and arthritis, all sorts of problems. And just following on her own, all of it went away. All of her pain went away, fibromyalgia went away, just doing amazing. I just saw her today, so I think she wanted to test it just to see me, right? So yesterday, she went to a friend's house and she didn't bring her own food and didn't want to, she let her people pleasing take over, and she ate chicken enchiladas, chicken and cheese. Now, she has been symptom-free since she started my plan back in January, and she's not even doing the full Goodbye Lupus protocol. She's hypernourishing and still eating like some potatoes or cooked food, as much fruit as she wants, all that kind of stuff, and symptom-free. She ate that last night, and today, pain from her elbow all the way through to her fingers. So so I said, you did research, right? That stuff is toxic for you. She just told me the story about how she had been plant-based and had tried eating like cooked food, potatoes, all that stuff, and it didn't work. So then she went and followed this other doctor who says keto's the way. And when she went to keto, eating just meat and took out all the plant foods for the most part, everything got worse. She had her arthritis got worse. She started getting nodules from arthritis that got worse. And then she started having gallbladder attacks. So she immediately stopped that and went to my protocol, and everything went away. The arthritis pain, the gallbladder attacks, she feels really good. But she ate that meat and dairy overnight. Next day, she's in pain. So when you're trying to make this stick, you've got to decide certain things are not food anymore, right? That I don't eat meat and dairy anymore because now I know that it's bad for me. So if it's bad for me and I want to live a long, healthy life, I'm not doing it anymore, right? So switching from a dieter mentality to I am changing my life so that I can live optimally and I will never do those things again. That's important. So biggest self-sabotage I think I see really is that dieter's mentality. The other ones I see is people overestimate what they're doing. They tell themselves they're doing it, but they're not. So either they're not doing it every day. So I'm hyper-nourishing, but I don't finish my smoothies every day. And on the weekends, I don't drink them. You're not hyper-nourishing. That's a protocol. That's an overdose of nutrition. You got to do it every day. Or they'll tell themselves they're hyper-nourishing, but they're not doing all the components. Vegetables, omega-3s, water. It only is hyper-nourishing. It's a protocol. It only is if you meet all three. So sometimes people will overestimate what they're doing. And then when they're not feeling well, then they'll tell themselves it doesn't work. But meanwhile, they weren't really doing it fully. Or they cheat on the weekends or something. And they'll be like, why aren't I not better? I only eat, burgers once a week. So overestimating what you're doing. And the other one is really sinking into the emotional stuff. So as I just mentioned that, the person I just saw today, the other way people self-sabotage is they give themselves noble reasons for going off plan. And when I talk about noble reasons, I do a lot of coaching on this in my rapid recovery group. People will come up with an excuse for self-sabotage that they think sounds like it's good. It's a good reason. It's a good reason. In the last group, there's someone who, an old lady gave her a cookie and she's like, how could I hurt her feelings and not eat it? And I was like, you absolutely could have not eaten it. And she said, well, next time I'll just hurt the old lady. And I went, no. You are now making yourself feel noble by harming yourself. You want to make an old lady happy? I love old ladies. They were my best friends through my whole childhood. Then listen to their stories, give them a hug, play their favorite music. You do not need to eat. Right? Or you could have even said, oh, thank you. I'll save this for later and wrap it in a napkin and put it in your purse. Right? So people give themselves noble reasons. The person I just told you about who went off plan last night and made herself hurt, was like, oh, well, they went out of their way to make me something gluten-free and they didn't know that I was plant-based and I didn't want to hurt their feelings. So I ate cheese and chicken and made myself sick. And now I'm in pain today and I'm suffering because I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. But there were so many ways out of that too. That might have felt noble. I'm doing something kind for them. But you could have literally showed up and gone, oh crap, I didn't bring my own food. So next time, remember to do that. But you could just fast that meal and say, you know what? I ate on the way here. I'm not even hungry, but I just love to have some tea and enjoy your company. If I get hungry, I'll eat a little later, right? There's always ways around it, right? If you don't want to confront it. If I'm going to someone's house for a meal, I always make sure I know what's being served and I bring my own stuff. But every once in a while, you might get caught off guard or they might have gotten it wrong. In which case, if they're really your friend, you tell them and say, you know what? Thank you for this. This was super nice of you. I'm so blown away. I love this. Thank you. I actually am also vegan, so I don't eat cheese and chicken or gluten. I'm sorry, but hey, I'm so happy that you did this for me. I'm already feeling so full of happiness. So thank you. But no worries. I'm actually fine. I'm not even that hungry, whatever, so it's good to tell people, but there's no nobility in harming yourself. There just isn't. You're not saving anybody else by hurting yourself. So it's time to stop doing that and to start really prioritizing yourself. So you only will recover if you make yourself the priority. And if your priority is not ruffling feathers and not making anyone uncomfortable, you'll always be sick. You have to be willing to say my health and my body matters. And me being healthy doesn't harm anyone. It doesn't hurt anyone for me to take care of myself. So that's a big one I see every day is people will call it people pleasing. I call it people pleasing pathology. Pathology because it's killing you. It's literally killing you, your self-esteem, your happiness, and your health. So, okay, you made me go on and on, Allison, but there you go. Let's see. Carol wants to know, is being gluten-free helpful when you have high thyroid antibodies? Not sure. It's very variable. So for example, the last example I gave where the woman, her friend made her gluten-free instead of vegan, she has had her throat close up and face swell up from gluten-containing products and thought that meant that she needs to be gluten-free. But then when she had Ezekiel bread, which is made from sprouted grains and no preservatives, she can eat it without a reaction. So my theory is for most people who think that they're gluten sensitive, that don't have celiac, they're really just reacting to the processed crap and not necessarily gluten. So I don't think even the estimation of gluten sensitivity for autoimmune is correct, because I think it's more about processed foods than anything else. There is no gluten containing products on the Goodbye Lupus protocol, so there's no reason to eat it, and you can take it out and just work on your health. But it's not a definite that gluten containing products are bad for people with autoimmune disease. I've never had a gluten issue. Okay. Pisces movie. My mom wants me to do this. Yeah, that's the hard thing is like, I know most moms would do this for their kid if they could, right? That's a good motivation, but you have to want to do it because it's not easy. I mean, the protocol is simple, but doing it is not easy. Just like I was talking about in the beginning of this, like, in order to make myself work out, I had to pay for it and get coaching and accountability. And now I'm doing it and it's easy, right? That starting is the hard part. You have to find a way to start and you have to be motivated to start. Like, I believe in this. I want to give myself this opportunity and there's no harm in it because it's just food, right? So that's going to be the most important thing. Sometimes someone will make an appointment with me for someone else. And I always feel bad for them. Like they got dragged in. They don't even know who I am, and they're like, what is this lady? And what is she talking about? So yeah, it's something that you either decide to do for yourself or you don't, but you can't make somebody else want it. But the fact that you're listening to me, you're doing your research, like, what's this lady about? That's good. It's a good start. Let me see. Iamana 22. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. My dad has stage 2 prostate cancer, PSA of 62, no bone involvement. Will this nutrition for healing, and then it cuts off. I've actually helped a lot of folks, with prostates get better, both from just having benign hypertrophy and prostate cancer. We had someone 2 groups ago with prostate cancer, and when he showed his graph of his prostate PSA, it was like this. Everyone was like this for the past few years. And then in our group, let me grab another pen. All right. And then in our group, this was what happened. It went boom, straight down for the first time, So it only benefits. I actually have someone who, she was just messaging me that she wants to come back to my rapid recovery group because she has cancer in the thyroid. And nothing has worked. It keeps growing back. And the only time her markers ever came down in the past few years, in spite of medical intervention, surgery, the only time it came down was in rapid recovery. So I don't, when it comes to cancer, I really think you should do everything because cancer is growing and it's growing. It's doubling itself, right? All of those cells are doubling itself. So personally, I wouldn't want to race against it and see, can I get my nourishment up fast enough to overtake it? So I know people do, but I don't recommend. I recommend you do everything it takes. So whatever the doctor's treatment is and using the nutrition to then amplify it and optimize your body's ability to fight back. A healthy immune system is important for fighting cancer. Hope your dad does well. All right, let me see. Okay, a little bit more. Let me see. All right, let's see. You can tell why I smile. Just sometimes it's just people writing nice things, and that's just nice. I appreciate it. Let me see. So Ross and Christy, hi Dr. G. How do you do smoothies when you hold on to vitamin K and weak kidneys? I know working with you is preferred, but how do we get started? Do you mean potassium? So on a chemistry panel, it'll say K. And that actually is referring to potassium. I know it's confusing. So if it's an electrolyte panel and you see sodium, potassium, creatinine, urea, GFR, right? These are all parts of a metabolic panel. If you've got weak kidneys, my guess is it's your potassium that's spiking. So yes, if someone has kidney failure, really any organ failure, this is when I do say work with me because I don't know how much food you can tolerate. And I don't want anyone to get sicker because of what I'm saying. I want everyone to get better. And if your kidneys are weak, you can overdose in potassium. You can overdose in water. So I normally will look at your labs and prescribe you a starting plan that's not full hypernourishment to test to see what your kidneys can do. And then you get repeated tests. So for starting, follow whatever your doctor's recommendation is for water restriction, so you don't dilute your sodium too low. Eat only low potassium choices for vegetables and fruits, chia seeds instead of flax, and get lab tests done within a week of making those changes to make sure that you're not spiking. But really, like I said, for safety, if your organs are failing, the risk of getting it wrong and either not getting better and losing more tissue to organ failure, or to making abnormalities in your bloodstream that could cause a side effect, then it becomes difficult. So I try to help for free as much as I can, but there's certain situations where your health is at risk and we have to watch you closely. So the good news is kidneys usually get better on my plan. I published reversing end-stage kidney failure, getting someone off the transplant list. I've gotten people off dialysis before, get someone to urinate who hasn't urinated in months, but we're watching them really closely. They're usually doing rapid recovery where I'm watching them every day. So I can keep them safe and make sure that everything is getting them better and they're not taking any risks. So, all right, let's see here. Let's see. All right. Well, so hey, Amelia said her cataract has disappeared eating plant-based. So there you go. That's always good news, right? Let's see. You'd be amazed. The body just has a greater ability to heal than any of us have ever imagined. I mean, I still think about constantly that I'm 46 years old, and it was 30 years ago that my doctor gave me 6 months to live from kidney failure. 30 years ago. And it'll be 18 years in October since the first blood test said that I was lupus free. 18 years. And this was supposed to be reversible. I should be dead. I shouldn't have children. And yet here I sit, right? So the body has an incredible ability to repair itself. But once it's weakened and sick, you need to be aggressive. My protocol is an emergency protocol. It's not like, there's a reason it's extreme. It's because you're fighting back against extreme conditions, and it works really well. And if there's one thing I can get any of you to do, it's just to try it. What the person told me today that I loved was, she said, I know when I listen to you, that is truth. It's just making me do what's true, right? This works. And that's why I continue to come on and try to encourage people to do this, because I know the hardest part is getting someone to do it. Once they do it, there's no regrets. It's a good thing. All right. Gag, no problems with leptin. Mila, Dr. G, if I don't have a gallbladder, should I limit flax seeds or oil? No, but spread it out, because you just might not absorb all of it at once. So if you put flax oil or flax seeds in a smoothie, and then you have like 3 of these over the course of the day, that's fine. You'll do fine. Lots of people without gallbladders do my program, no problem. Sarah Gifford said there's frozen fruit from Walmart on recall. So hopefully if you're having a gut issue, you're not eating that one. I'm just going to try to rapid fire now for the next couple minutes. Helga, can antibiotics hinder healing process on Goodbye Lupus protocol? No, but you do want to have probiotics, and make sure that you take your probiotics at least 2 to 3 hours after the antibiotics so you don't kill them off. Let's see. Annette, lichen sclerosis, diagnosed 3 months ago. I have had great results with lichen sclerosis in rapid recovery, especially with the symptoms like the itching. Let's see. All right. And Joanne was thanking me for helping people get so well, including me. Eczema is so much better after 2 months of the Goodbye Lupus protocol. Is having Hashimoto's antibodies the same as having it? Yes. So Hashimoto's antibodies is how you confirm Hashimoto's. And congratulations on getting rid of your eczema. Okay. And GAGD, yeah. So the leptin issue is not a real issue scientifically. It's just a made up thing, but it's not a real health problem. It's sad that there are people out there trying to convince people that eating vegetables is your problem. Out of all the people I've seen who are sick, their problem has never been eating too many vegetables. It's been quite the opposite. So yeah. I don't recommend dates in smoothie, Abarna, unless you're just improving health. You don't have any kind of health issues. You're not trying to reverse disease. No problem. But if you're doing Goodbye Lupus protocol, I don't use them. Okay. And Kan Waljit, let me know which is the cooking oil best for lupus. Thank you so much for your support and kindness. I don't recommend you use cooking oil. Learning to cook without oil is really, really good for you. And thankfully, what people who are doing all these kinds of plans love to do, besides come to Q&As maybe, is to blog about their recipes. So if you look online, how to cook without oil, and then name the recipe you're trying to make, you will find a lot of people posting and blogging all about it. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. All right, Instagram, we got a couple more out of there before we end it. Let's see. Okay. Some of you posted more than one. Let me see if I get some extra people. All right, let me see here. Okay, Silks Outdoors. Is it possible that vegan's not right for everyone? My friend felt bad for vegan for years and now feels awesome. How is that possible? So there is an optimal way for our species to eat. Like every other species on the planet, there is a diet that is meant for our bodies, okay? And it turns out for humans, that is a plant-based diet. And as much as people want to be carnivores, or other things because they like the taste of it, we're just not. When you look at us biologically, when you dissect apart the human body, every single part of our bodies matches with herbivores, from our flat teeth that can't rip apart the flesh of a body and tear it all apart and eat it, to the lacking of claws that will dig in and open up someone's bowel. We don't have the speed to chase down the prey. Try to chase your own deer, and then you look on the inside. The way our intestines are formed. Carnivores have short guts. We have long guts that are meant for digesting fibers and all the different plant foods. And the fact that animal products create inflammation and illness in our body. So in every way you look, if you look at just our physical body and how we compare biologically to other animals, we're herbivores. If you look at what causes disease in humans, we're herbivores. So, and even when people say, well, we are very similar to some of the apes, and they do have some animal products in their diet, sure, occasionally, but usually that's either bugs, like you ever see a chimpanzee kind of put a stick into a tree and eat the bugs. If that's what you want to do, I haven't tested that. Or it'll be like a fight for dominance where they might kill another member of their own species for dominance, but they're not hunting and eating. So biologically, this is where we are, okay? Now, there's different ways to be vegan. And many people who choose to eat vegan, all vegan means is no animal products, right? I mean, in terms of diet, vegan is a very big word that often refers to how people live their diet in terms of ethics and not wanting to harm the planet, not wanting to cause other creatures pain. There's a lot more to it. But in terms of eating vegan, it means no animal products. But that only talks about what you don't eat. That doesn't mention anything about what you do eat. So I have a lot of folks come to me who are eating a plant-based or vegan diet and they still are sick. But it's not because they're supposed to eat meat. It's because they're malnourished, they're dehydrated, they're only eating the cooked foods. I've had so many people come to me on cooked plant-based diets that just could not get better. And then we added hypernourishment and all their symptoms went away. So you have to do it right, is what I'm saying. Now, the other side of it is sometimes when people first do it, they feel worse, but it's not because it's not good for them. It's because that's the detox process where for the first week or so, you might feel worse while you're just dealing with the consequences of what you did before. Very much like if an alcoholic stops drinking, they will get very sick. Shakes, nausea, diarrhea. But does that mean that they need to get back on alcohol because alcohol was better for them? No, this is the consequence of all the alcohol you drank is now you have to withdraw and go through this process. So So a lot of times initially people might feel that way, but that's part of the healing process. But if they were vegan for years and didn't feel good, there was something they were doing wrong. And it's always unfortunate when people make that mistake. Sometimes they're just not eating enough. If you've ever seen an herbivore in action, they're eating all day. They are munching that lawn or whatever they're doing all day long, right? So animal products tend to sit in the gut and keep you full. Plant products tend to move through because that's our natural food and it will move through and digest. So sometimes people don't feel good because they're just not eating enough. And then when they switch to animal products that sit and putrefy in the gut, it makes them feel more full. They feel better. So really it's a matter of getting the diet right. So I'm always happy when I can catch someone before they make that choice where they go, oh, I'm not feeling good, and I can fix it for them and get them optimally healthy versus them going back to something that's actually not good for their health. But as long as someone feels good, they're not motivated to do anything better. So there's nothing to work on, right? If your friend's cholesterol goes up or they get high blood pressure or diabetes, then maybe they can revisit it and do it the right way. So all righty, everybody. I hope this was helpful for you. I always love coming on and helping you. Lots of amazing questions. I have so much information out there. There's somebody wrote, like, where can I learn more about the protocol? I mean, one of the easiest things, this is not a prop. I don't even know why this is on my desk, but Goodbye Lupus. I wrote it so it was quick to the point. You can know exactly what the protocol is. And you can get it free at a library, or you can get it on Amazon. But I also have articles with it for free. If you go to goodbyelupus.com media page, you can read articles on it. And if you're following me on social media, you know that I have prolific amounts of information online. If you go through and you watch the videos, it's all here. So I hope that helps you. The other place you can work is that you can go to smoothieshred.com, and that can take you to a Facebook group we have for free. And in the Facebook group, in the guide section, my husband actually wrote out, here's the difference between the Goodbye Lupus protocol, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease protocol, hypernourishment, and he wrote it out. So that's another place you can get it for free. All right. We're always trying to give out information for free because, as I always say, you got to save your life. And he always says you got to save your wife. But either way, we're here for you guys. So I hope that helped you out. I hope you have plans to have some fun this weekend. We're halfway there, right? So I will see you all next time. Hope you have a great